Hello there, Hallmark here. In today's video, I'm going to show you how I built this really cool cedar saddle stand. Now this saddle stand isn't very difficult to build, and I would say that it's probably one of the beginner type projects, really good if you're just starting out with either power tools or hand tools. The saddle stand is built from just 1-inch lumber, 1-inch cedar in this case, and there's no complex joinery or anything. It's basically glued and screwed. So come along with me as I build this awesome beginner project, and hopefully you get something out of it. And if you like what you see, make sure you hit the like button, or better yet, hit the subscribe button and the bell notification icon. This channel is growing super fast, and I'm really appreciative of everyone that's helping me. So here I have the rail pieces, which are 2 inches by 24 inches. Here I have the panel pieces, which are 4 inches by 24 inches. And then finally, that last stack is the legs, and those are 20 inches by 4 inches. Very easy cut list. Now what I'm going to do is just joint all of the panel pieces and get them ready for glue up. I'm just going to check those with a square, make sure everything looks really good, and so it'll glue up nice. Now I'm not a big, huge fan of glue squeeze out, but I do try to get just the perfect amount to where you get a little bit of squeeze out. I just don't like cleaning up glue or making a mess or wasting the glue. So I'm just going to apply a little bit, and then I'll use the silicone brush. I actually love this thing to go ahead and smooth it out and make it nice and even. Now I'm going to go ahead and kind of pre-wipe these pieces. I'm a little bit CDO, I guess OCD for most people, but I like the letters to be alphabetically arranged. Um, See, I'm a little picky, but I do kind of pre-wipe it. And I'll get these wonderful premium Harbor Freight clamps and get it all clamped up nicely. And then I'll kind of clean up the glue squeeze out as I go. Make sure that these panels look great. And I'll set them over to dry. Here I'm adding just a little bitty detail to the legs. You could also do some nice rounded shapes. I just went more simple for this build. Just marking them out really nice and using my 2 Japanese saws to kind of trace that line. If you've never sawed down a line or to a line, it's very tough. You need to definitely put some practice in because I'm still getting used to it myself. Now I'm going to take those cut pieces and I'm just going to use the low angle plane to kind of clean them up a little bit and sneak down to that line, kind of even them out and make them look really good. And now I'll take the panels that have dried. I'm just going to give them a nice little planing to remove all of the glue mess, but to also kind of flatten them out and get them ready. Here I'm using a coping saw. This took 74 hours of coping to get these 2 rounded pieces off. It was painful, but it was fun in some way. It just reminds me that I really need to buy a bandsaw. Here I'm just cleaning off the rail pieces and getting everything looking nice and ready for a little mock-up. Now I don't have any kind of fancy planes that I can use to do any of this cool like round over, champers, or other things. So I'm stuck whipping out this loud, messy beast of a router. And there's a little mock-up. This is just a little sampling. I don't have anything attached. I'm just trying to see what it'll look like. So it looks pretty good. I'll go ahead and start on it. I'm just lining up the pieces, getting everything kind of ready to assemble. And basically I'm going to go through and pre-drill and countersink some screws. And in this build, I'm using nothing but number 6 wood screws. I prefer the wood screws with a star tip. Uh, Keeps me from stripping things out, and I find it's just a fantastic little type of screw head. Here I'm just measuring the holes, both from the bottom and the sides, and for the middle, just to make sure that my screws are going in a nice pattern, nice and evenly, because I will be plugging these with some poplar dowel. I find the brace to be one of the most satisfying and fun things to use as far as hand tools go. You can just feel, with every rotation, you can feel the bit going into the wood. You can hear the cracking. You can really control it. If you've never used one of these, it is super fun and really does a great job. It's not as fast as my little power drill there on the bench, but it is just great. You've got to try a bit and brace. Now I'm going to go ahead and screw these together before I add the glue. And that's so that when I do add the glue, the realignment of the pieces is super easy. And it just takes some of the anxiety and stress out of doing this kind of glue up, where you have holes that need to line up, things such as that. And here is my little glue up. I like to use these little Harbor Freight brushes. You can get them for almost nothing. And it just makes getting the glue where you want it to be really easy. Now, some people have called me the Picasso of Pine because I'm just so artistic with this paintbrush. Watch this. Wow, look at that. That is just complete art. I don't even want to finish this glue up. I just want to hang these pieces up just like this on the wall because look at that art. Here I'm just clamping the pieces and making sure they're lined up with a square. Just making sure everything looks good before I screw it down and get it clamped up for its overnight rest. The silicone brush has this really cool flat head on it that can help you get the glue out of all the little cracks. After they've dried, you have these two beautiful little panels. And now we'll kind of fill in those holes. Here I'm just using my little Dazuki to cut this down. Watch this. Well, there it is. There. Oh, yep, there we go. I left that in for you guys. Thought you might get a laugh. But here I'm just cutting down these pieces. And once I shave these off when it's dried, you can reuse these. And I think that one stick of 1/4 inch dowel will probably last me. I could probably build 8 or 10 of these with that same stick. Here I'm just going to glue these up. But here's how I do the dowel rod pins. I just kind of dip them in the cup and stick them right in. And then I'll just tap them in with my mallet. It's fun. Makes it a little easy. And here I'm just coming back with some lint-free paper towels and just cleaning off any excess glue. I'm just trying to eliminate having to clean it later.
Oh, yeah, no, I like it.
And then there's Mr. Ryoba saw going in there nice. I'm being careful not to mar or cut the surface. I really need a flush trim saw. It's a future purchase. But this one will work in a pinch. Now for these bottom rails that kind of add some support to the bottom. I'm just pre-drilling and countersinking all of these. With 1 inch lumber, you have to be careful not to split it, so I try to pre-drill and countersink everything I do. Now here you can see my drill is actually too big to go against the side of that, but here's a cool tool, the Yankee hand drill. I picked this up at an antique store and it is just super neat. The T15 a star bit fits really good in there actually, and you can get right up next to these panels here and get things screwed in securely and quite easily. Pretty neat. And there we go. The bottom is secured. I just use a square to check it to make sure everything is looking good and looking right. And here I've attached one of the top pieces. I centered this best I could and got it screwed in there, and we're ready to keep going. Now here on these pieces, I'm actually marking my screw holes because with the 1-inch lumber, you have to get pretty close to the end on these. And I want to make sure that they all look uniform and nice and that everything looks tidy. This center punch tool here is super cool. It's an automatic punch, and it just makes guiding the drill bit in there a little easier. It's really fun to use. Alrighty, it's starting to come together. I added these little side rails here for extra support, just glued and screwed. I want it to be sturdy because this is more than a saddle stand. This is actually for Texas Roadhouse here in Decatur, Alabama. They're going to use this for their birthday celebration, so I don't want, a 300-pound guy to hop on this thing and absolutely crush it. So I'm trying to add some support where I can. Alrighty, now for the fun time, sanding. On the flat surfaces, I'm taking 220 grit sandpaper and just going over it nicely. It's been planed, so it actually already had a good surface, but I just wanted to get everything nice and uniform and just try to do as best job I could on it. For the intricate little pieces and little odd molding kind of parts, I decided to hand sand just so I didn't mess up any of those lines. This gives you a lot of control too. You can really sand exactly where you want it. And here I'm just dusting it off, getting ready to put on an oil finish. Try to clean up as best I can. Alright, check this out. Whoa. That is super satisfying. I love using oil on this stuff, especially this cedar here. Man, it just drinks it up and totally changes it. I'll leave a video link up above and below as well, so you can check out my video that I made about how I make this special oil mix. It's easy to apply, it's cheap, and it just makes things look good and can help them stand the test of time. That is so satisfying. I love how cedar has all this weird like sap wood and all these knots. I know normally you don't really want to have knots necessarily, but I love the cedar look with all of these interesting patterns and colors. Just some more little shots. Oh, I just love this. Also, you'll notice when you apply it, it looks like there's darker and lighter spots where the oil was on there first. As you apply this and kind of rub it in and dry it off to get ready for it to cure overnight, all of that balances out. It all soaks in evenly and ends up looking fantastic. And there we go. Getting ready for the decorative elements. Looking good so far. And here's these little brackets I got from Hobby Lobby. They had all their stuff like this on sale this day, so I got it 50% off. I just attached those, just pre-drill and screw. Got these little casters from Harbor Freight I'm going to test out. We'll see how that 300-pound man puts a wear on these things, but I figured I'd try it. I'm going to put them right here on the edge. And the horseshoe, I kind of centered it up, and I'm using these cut tacks, and they kind of remind me of an old-fashioned cut nail, but they're super small. They're just little tacks. You can pick these up at, I got these at Lowe's. I'm just going to tack about 4 of them in, just to hold on that decorative piece. I'll also be adding my little wood burn logo into the center of this horseshoe. Alrighty, there you go, guys. I added the handle on the opposite side so they could push it and pull it. Added some of those decorative cap nails in the center, just to kind of dress it up and make it look a little nicer. I'm really happy with this thing. Gosh. Well, there you have it, guys. A wonderful beginner project that looks great, is highly functional, and that can hopefully lead to you selling a few of these and making some good money. As always, thank you for watching, and thank you for subscribing.